Welcome. Yesterday's NBA news from the 3rd of July. Happy 4th of July to those from America. And here it's just a regular ass day. Anyway, not many news. Not much happening in the world of NBA right now. We're waiting pretty much on Lauri Markkanen or on DeMar DeRozan or on a Brandon Ingram trade. All of these things, I would say, are holding up the rest of the deals right now. But there were some minor deals and obviously more rumors about those players. So let's get into it. First of all, with the guaranteed deals, which is firstly Damian Lee on a 1-year deal. We don't know how much money he'll get. Return to the Phoenix Suns, I would say the minimum probably. And he was out last year with a right knee injury. Now he returns to the Suns as a off the bench shooter, and he was able to do a little bit of everything with us as the Golden State Warriors. So we'll see how he returns from this injury that bugged him and took him out the whole year last season. Joe Ingles heading to the Minnesota Timberwolves on a 1-year deal. Averaged 4, 2 and 3 on 44, 44, 82 splits in 68 games with the Orlando Magic last year. And he seems like a good replacement for Kyle Anderson, right? Similar skill set. He should be obviously a better shooter, even though he doesn't shoot it as much as he used to. But he seems like a really good replacement for Kyle Anderson, who Minnesota lost. Alec Burks is headed to the Miami Heat on a 1-year deal. He averaged 10, 2, and 1 on 37, 38, 87 splits in 66 games last year. Had himself some moments in the playoffs for the Knicks, of course, after the injuries. And he heads to the Miami Heat. Seems like a Heat type player. I would say he probably replaces Caleb Martin, will probably leave. And he'll have a moment in the playoffs, in the play-in, if the Heat are in there, which we expect them to be, even though injuries and age with Jimmy, it's gonna be intriguing to watch the Miami Heat this season. Anyway, a good signing for the Heat, I would say. PJ Dozier heading on a 1-year deal to the Minnesota Timberwolves. He played with Partizan last year in Europe. Averaged 9, 3, and 3 on 49, 29, 73 splits in 33 games in the EuroLeague. Played also 22 games with Partizan in the Serbian league. And yeah, that's a backup point guard role for PJ Dozier here with Minnesota, I guess. Or like an insurance point guard role if, I guess, Rob Dillingham doesn't pan out or is not ready early on and Mike Conley gets hurt. So we'll see how PJ Dozier comes back. He played with the Kings last in the NBA, I'm pretty sure, so that is that. Taurean Prince gets a deal with the Milwaukee Bucks. Averaged 9, 3, and essentially 1.5 on 44, 40, 74 splits in 78 games last year with the Lakers. And he reunites with Darvin Ham. They'll find each other in every universe. And it's another solid all-around piece for the Bucks. I like those micro moves they made so far. Dillon Wright, Taurean Prince, both seem like a really good fit, around this team, and with the new, I would say, with the first year struggles out the way, I think Milwaukee is bound for a really great bounce back season, even though they were still the 3rd seed, and who knows what would happen if Giannis was healthy. That's going to be, at the end of the day, the deal breaker anyway, right? Thomas Bryant returning to the Miami Heat on a 1-year deal, averaged 6, 4, and 1 on 58, 18, 87 splits in 38 games. Another return for Miami off the bench big. Hopefully he can find his shooting stroke. And Adama Sanogo is heading on a 2-way contract with the Chicago Bulls. He averaged 4, 4, and 0 on 52, 67 splits in 9 games with the Bulls last season, and he gets a 2-way contract for this season. Some coaching news. Jordan Ott is the new assistant in Cleveland for Kenny Atkinson. He spent the last 2 years with the Lakers and was a finalist for the Charlotte Hornets head coaching job. And Kemba Walker was hired as a development coach for the Charlotte Hornets, which I like. Makes sense. All is right in the world, I would say there. And now we head into the rumor section, right? Kings, Spurs, and Warriors have significant trade offers on the table for Lauri Markkanen, and you just gotta have wait on what Utah and Danny Ainge wants to do. Lauri averaged 23, 8, and 2 on 48, 49 splits in 55 games, and he's the best piece out there available on the market. The shooting, the size, the movement, just fits pretty much with anyone. And the question is, we'll get him. And I think that also, obviously, I guess is the piece holding up the Brandon Ingram trades, which seem likely that will happen. It seems like if Warriors get Lauri Markkanen, then Kings, or I don't know if the Spurs, but I would say the Kings trade for Brandon Ingram, and the Spurs might get DeMar DeRozan, and I would say these three teams could split these players, even though I'm not sure the Warriors are willing to get anyone other than Lauri Markkanen at the end of the day. And that leads directly into our next news, which there was a speculation that the Kings are discussing a DeMar DeRozan sign and trade with the Bulls. DeMar averaged 24, 4, and 5 on 48, 33, 85 splits in 79 games last season. And it will be a deal to try to get raise your ceiling for the Kings at the end of the day. That's what they want to do, because De'Aaron Fox has been reluctant to sign a contract extension, and they need to entice him, right? They need to make sure that he stays with them. Now here we head to the Lakers. More news about the Lakers, right? They hired assistant coaches finally, but they struck out in free agency. LeBron resigned on a max deal, and now there are reports that they are reluctant to give out first-round picks for Dorian Finney-Smith, Cam Johnson, and Bruce Brown, which I don't know what the Lakers want. I just don't know. They are very poorly run, let's just say. Rob Pelinka does a horrible job. I think the front office overall, it's just a huge mess, and it has been for the last 10 years, I would say, since 2013, essentially, since they traded for Dwight Howard, in a way, even though that seemed like a good move, obviously, back then. Lakers are active in trade talks with the Wizards for Kyle Kuzma. That's the other news. Maybe they would be willing to give out 2 first-round picks for him, because that's what the Wizards were asking for in our previous reports. Kuzma averaged 22, 7, and 4 on 46, 34, 78 splits in 70 games for the Wizards. And obviously, he knows the Lakers. They know him. I guess that would be a good deal for them if they could get it done. But we don't know what the Lakers will do ever, because they are just that unpredictable and bad in a way. Paul Reed, pardon me, I skipped Spurs showing interest in DeMar DeRozan. I already said his stats. I already talked about how this probably all ties into the Lauri Markkanen deal. And however that pans out, DeMar seems like to be the second best option. Then Brandon Ingram is in there somewhere. So we'll see how this turns out. I genuinely don't know. I hope it's Warriors get Lauri Markkanen. The Kings trade for Brandon Ingram would make more sense to me than a trade for DeMar DeRozan, but maybe there's some more hold-up, right? And the Spurs would get DeMar back, which, Chris Paul, DeMar, Wemby, could be actually a really fun team for next year, especially with, expectations for Wemby being so sky high. That would be my dream scenario, but I genuinely don't know how this will pan out for all of these. And from what we know, they might just keep Markkanen in Utah, right? And then whatever happens, we'll see. Paul Reed will leave the 76ers, apparently. He averaged 7, 6, and 1 on 54, 37, 72 splits in 82 games last season. A fan favorite in Philadelphia, in a way. B-Ball Paul. There were no reports about which teams want him, but there was a cryptic deleted tweet with him, and we'll see where he heads. I don't know yet. Then there is no interest around the league in Ben Simmons. Ben averaged 6, 8, and 6 on 58, nothing 40 splits in 15 games. 40% from the free throw line is crazy. It's crazy that he has not been able to improve, actually, in that case. But the back injuries and everything, it's just going to be tough. Hello! The 76ers are interested in Marcus Morris, who averaged 6, 3, and 1 on 44, 40, 82 splits in 49 games for the Cavaliers last season. And in Caleb Martin, who averaged 10, 4, and 2 on 43, 35, 78 splits in 64 games last season. Both would be, I would say, Caleb Martin would be a really great signing for the Sixers if he's able to stay healthy. Uh, Not sure about Marcus Morris, but as a locker room presence, that makes sense. So we'll see what moves the Sixers make. And with that said, that is it for today's news. And hopefully tomorrow we get some movement on Lauri, DeMar, and Brandon Ingram, so we can have something more fun to talk about. Anyway, thank you all for listening, for watching. Be kind to yourself and to others. Yeah, just be. That's all you need to be.